Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about how companies can win in the midst of the work-from-home revolution that's among us.
This is a work-from-home deep dive into some of the solutions that are going to allow employees who are now facing work-from-home environments like never before. I'd also like to bring to the table some experts from different organizations who'd like to speak with you about some of the services that they offer. Each presenter will have just a few minutes to go over some things in response for your organization that you might want to consider or an organization that you might support.
At Technology Source, we often refer to the elements of business success. This table allows us to quickly communicate the vast offerings we source on behalf of our clients. These range from cybersecurity, business optimization, software and applications, connectivity, voice and communications, marketing services, mobility, and cloud and infrastructure.
Well, what we wanted to talk about today are some of the solutions that we have put together for some of our customers and kind of help you guys understand how we can be flexible and how we can pull together a solution to help you potentially move people to remote work or allow you to be able to be really effective in how you're continuing to interact with your customers. A little bit about Teligent, what we bring to the table. These are kind of the 4 big points that we like to talk about. First, agility. We love being able to be nimble. Our ship is a ship that we can quickly move. We can be dynamic to be able to help you guys have solutions that you need in a timely fashion. Minimal impact to revenue streams and give you the ability to be able to continue to function in lots of different places like Sonia talked about. From a flexibility standpoint, specifically right now, one of the things that we're really focused on is we want businesses to thrive. We want them to continue to be able to have value add for their customers. And so we're going to help in any way that we can. You'll see with some of the solutions that we're going to talk about today that may mean we're bringing up some services for a customer that are going to be short-term services that will allow them to be able to continue to function, and then they'll go back to business as usual once they can get people back inside of buildings. But we're really focused on helping businesses grow, not necessarily just building that customer base at this point. From a dynamic standpoint, we've got 2 platforms, lots of platforms, but 2 specifically from a UCaaS standpoint, Microsoft Teams, as well as a BroadSoft platform. So from a voice and a unified communication standpoint, we can bring together those options for you. And we'll talk about those here in a couple of those solutions. And we're really focused on solutions. How do we help you do something that's comfortable for you? We don't want to hand you the box and say, hey, here's what you need to use, make it work for you. We're going to come to the table and say, what are you guys doing? How can we augment that? How can we get you running the way that you are comfortable running? So you'll see that as we talk about some of these solutions. So the first solution we'll talk about is specifically Microsoft Teams. So we had a customer come to us. They currently have an on-premise phone system. They've got 4 locations, and with those 4 locations, they're all on different phone systems. They don't have the ability to do remote work. They've got some people functioning with cell phones, but they're not on the same phone system. They have paper fax lines, but they are using currently Microsoft Office 365 with Teams, and they have said, we like Teams, we want to pull that phone piece into our Teams solution. So what we did is we sat down with them. They helped us understand, what do we want to accomplish? Here's kind of the overarching goal. How do we pull that whole piece together? What that means for them is we bring all 4 locations under one umbrella for a voice standpoint. We have all of that voice travel through Teams where they're already doing their collaboration, their instant messaging, and their file sharing. They have then access to the PC application for soft phone on their computer, as well as the mobile application for soft phone on their mobile devices. And then we're going to move them out to a fax to email. So rather than needing to be in that office with that fax machine, those faxes will all come to an email, and then they can send emails out to give them the ability to be able to continue to have that fax transmission. The other piece that's really valuable that we bring to the table is this isn't a bolt-on to Teams. This is all done on the back end and physically fits inside of the UI inside of Teams. So anyone that's already using Teams, it gives you another tab on the left-hand side for calls where now you have a dial pad and you can reach out to any local, international, any phone number that's out there on the telephone network. So really valuable and allows for that comfort level to stay inside of what companies are already using with Teams. The other thing that was huge for them was we're going to be able to port numbers, bring all that into one location in 7 days for them. So they're not waiting for a long time for ports to happen. They're not waiting for things to get moving. We're going to make it happen in a really quick fashion for them. The next piece was a different type solution. So we have a customer who's an emergency response center. They've got 25 agents all in one building, and they have an on-premise phone system, but that on-premise phone system also has connected to it a customer relationship manager or scripting. So when those agents get calls in, while they're sitting there in the office, they see that scripting, they're able to do the engagement there with those customers as they come in. For this particular customer, what they needed was for agents to be able to have a phone line remotely that they could call into the system, call back to the main office, still have the access to that customer relationship manager or CRM, and gives them the ability to be able to continue to function, but in a remote atmosphere. That on-premise phone system that they have doesn't currently allow them to do anything other than have people call in. So in 24 hours, what we did for them was we brought a bunch of phone seats for them. You've got all of these 25 agents sitting at home. They've got their computer, they're sitting there, they're plugged in with a headset. They call into the phone system, wait there in the queue for those calls to come in, and they're able to then continue those interactions. They have that social distancing in place, so they're continuing to be safe, but they don't have to worry about how do I change my on-premise phone system to something that now allows me to go out to the cloud. They will likely come back to that on-premise phone system because it's so core to their business, and we will just pull down those services for them and help them any other time that they need to. But this was a way for us to be able to get them to continue to function, to continue to accomplish the business that they have and being able to support their own customers. The third solution we'll talk about here is a cloud call center solution. So this is a healthcare organization. They have a Cisco call manager, which is an on-premise phone system. They had been talking for months about moving to the cloud, but just hadn't pulled the trigger yet. They weren't ready to make that jump just yet. Well, this kind of forced their hand. With that, they understand the idea of what it means to be hosted and in the cloud and have a phone system that's fully a data center driven, but they just didn't have any of that infrastructure in place. So the current call center manager didn't have any remote capabilities, but what they wanted to continue to have happen was the queuing that happens inside of a call center, the agents, the supervisors, all those pieces, but in the cloud. We pulled together a 4-day setup for them where we put together an entire contact center. They have multiple queues, they have skill levels, they have multiple agents, multiple supervisors. They're going to be able to continue to function from anywhere where those agents have internet access. Again, soft phones on computers, soft phones on mobile devices, and then on top of that, the contact center manager and the supervisors now have a more robust analytics, more robust reporting, and better control because they can do that control from absolutely anywhere. So it gave them the ability to really pull a new solution together that they had been talking about for months, but we were able to do it in a timely fashion where revenue was not impacted. They were able to continue to function and not have their customers even know that they're no longer in those buildings. Really valuable solution for them. One of the things we love to talk about in this growing and ever-changing technology sector is SMS. We have a proprietary SMS solution. We call it the Teligent Interactive Solution. It can be used in lots of different ways. And this has really allowed our customers and new customers to be able to be creative about how do I interact and how do I allow myself to be able to continue to function, but maybe not answer as many phone calls because I've got less people that can handle that interaction. First solution we put together on the left-hand side there is a customer, large nursing home facility, 16 locations, and obviously those older people in our society are the people that we're worried about. And so that nursing home had lots of different things that they were putting into place for controls, not only from a standpoint of visiting hours, but also what are they doing to continue to clean and sanitize the nursing home? How are they continuing to allow visitors to come in but still be in control and have that be a safe factor? What they did is we pulled together a solution for them in 24 hours, but an SMS solution where they could bulk send out text messages to all of those families of those patients that they have to be able to allow them to have notification of updated visiting hours. of updated regulations that they may be putting in place, as well as if somebody had more in-depth questions, they didn't have to have someone sitting on the phone. They could have, a couple people sitting there responding back to text messages and giving that information out while maybe handling 2 or 3 conversations rather than just one phone conversation at a time. Again, this was a solution we pulled together for them in 24 hours, something that we were able to make happen. And the value of our SMS solution is it's not 6-digit short codes that you may get from some of the retailers that you deal with that you get SMS messages from. It is their main 10-digit DID. So if somebody wants to call in from that text messaging application on their cell phone, they can hit call and get to the front desk of that nursing home. Really, really powerful from our SMS solution there. Perfect. So ultimately, the SMS platform is great for everybody. You can have one agent, one person sitting answering messages. We find that they can interact typically with about 6 conversations at a time. The platform is capable of sending thousands of text messages per second. So depending on what you want to accomplish, you can send a quick marketing blast out, you can send a quick informational blast out, or you've got the ability to be able to put in a drip campaign where you upload, here's the 10,000 messages I want to send, and I want to send one every 7 seconds, or however you want to accomplish that. The system is really robust and allows us to be able to interact in lots of different ways. And what we're finding is we have some good ideas, or we think we have good ideas as Teligent, but even our customers come to the table and say, hey, I've thought about using it in this way. Is that possible? So things like this second solution that we had here, where a doctor's office, they fit prosthetic devices for patients. They didn't want to close. They wanted to continue to help their patients. So what they did is they set up for their receptionist this text message platform. The person comes to the parking lot. When they get there, they text the doctor's office. The receptionist responds back and says, great, I've got you checked in. I'll let you know when the doctor's ready. When the doctor's ready, they text back and say, hey, the doctor's ready. Why don't you come on up? They go into the doctor's office, and we're still keeping that social distancing. So obviously not something that would have really been thought about if we weren't dealing with the pandemic that we're dealing with now. But it would also work for things like grocery stores, things like restaurants, things like banks. Really, text messaging we see a lot of power in, because most text messages are read within 3 minutes of being received, and very few people allow text messages to go very long on their cell phones without actually being read. So if you want to have that interaction with your customer, there's huge value add there for you to be able to get their attention without an email campaign, without having to get them on the phone. And then with our solution, we can have that 2-way conversation back and forth so that we can help them to get the information that they need, especially now in what we're doing now. Really, just in closing, what I'll say is what we want you guys to know is we want to help you. We want to be able to bring to you solutions in a quick period of time, low revenue impact or potentially no revenue impact. And we want you to be able to be off and running with potentially a new opportunity of ways to interact with your customers, or doing it from a different location.
My name is Sonia Moline, and I will close out today. Please reach out to us at Technology Source and any of our partners that are out there and advisors. That's what we're here for. You guys stay safe, and really appreciate you taking the time. I commend you for taking the time.
Join us every Tuesday from now till May at 10 a.m. Pacific Time for the Technology Source Virtual Roundtable Series.